Hello, I'm Barbara, one of the co-founders here at Ponga. This tour will show you what Ponga is all about. We'll start with a little mini overview and then get right into the tour. If you've heard this before, just fast forward a stitch or two. Ponga is all about stories in pictures. It's software that runs in your browser and gives you a way to organize your photos so that you can use them to privately share stories rich with context with family and friends. This context can include documentation, insights, and background in any form, from maps and videos to presentations and recordings. The combination of storytelling and media can be used to share a larger story captured in a photograph. Individually or combined into albums, Ponga pictures are all private and shared only by invitation. Wrapped in context and shared as private links, Ponga pictures become like platters, passed around a family to put stories back into circulation. And really, it's stories that connect us. By giving you access to the visual context of the photograph, Ponga creates a new way to capture details from voice, video, and documents in online services and archives. Crowdsource stories from family, friends, and acquaintances who can share memories triggered by photos. And curate what you've learned into a shared legacy you can pass on to the next generation. Your Ponga membership protects the privacy of your pictures, but as a member, you can also invite as many free guests as you like. I hope that gives you the context to understand where we're going. Now let's find out more of what you can do with Ponga. We think tours are a great way to see how the software works. You can play this video in your computer while you follow along on your own account in a browser window. If you'd like, we also offer these tours via Zoom. Follow the links at the end of this video to schedule your own. Now, my goal here is to show you how to get the most out of your Ponga membership. You can also use it to invite others to join along as your free guests. Let's start by talking about members and guests. Your Ponga membership protects the privacy of your pictures. As a member, you own your own pictures and have complete control over the guests you invite and whether they can contribute to your pictures. You can join as a member now by just hitting the Join button on the homepage or explore as a guest first. An example in every account will get you started, and we'll talk about that here. If you're just thinking about it, let us invite you to be our guest and explore one of our own pictures. Just visit us at ponga.com, invite me. Joining as a member is simple. You'll just hit the Join button on the home page and be taken through our purchase options. If you already have an account because you signed up as someone's guest, it's even easier. Just hit the Upload Pictures button once you're already in your account, and you'll be taken to the purchase page. Once that's done, you'll be popped into your new Ponga library. You'll see here there's an example album and a picture in your library. If any pictures have been shared with you, you'll find them here as well, distinguished by the little arrow in the corner. On the left is your list of albums. Right now there's just one called Example. Notice the curly brackets around it? Albums are sorted alphabetically, and as you add your own, we wanted this example out of your way, so the curly brackets, it'll sort at the bottom. When you add your own pictures and start putting names to faces in the gallery, Ponga will create a series of albums labeled for each person you've named. They'll appear here, sorted in alphabetical order. Now, more about adding pictures in a moment, but first, let's start with this example called Explore Features Here. Just mouse over the picture tile in the library, and you can see the title and that there are 7 comments included. Also notice the little red box lights up in the right corner when you mouse over it. That red X would delete the picture, so let's not do that just yet. Instead, we'll click on the picture tile and it'll go ahead and open. Let's start with a really important concept. Ponga pictures and albums are actually web links. When you upload pictures to Ponga, we take your original image file, whether it's a 100K JPEG file or a 50 meg TIFF or PNG file, and we make a working copy of it. We take your original and archive it in protected storage. Now let me show you around the anatomy of a Ponga picture. On your left, you have a toolbar giving you the controls for zooming in and out of a picture, adding and controlling selections. Now let's start with a quick zoom. See how fast that is? When you can get up to 6 levels of zoom, which can be really useful for navigating around very large images quickly and easily. The selections are these black boxes you see here in the picture. You can make these selections at any level of zoom, and they stay exactly that spot on the image. You might find the article, "What do you call things in Ponga?" helpful. There are two ways to get to our help system. One is right here in the chat bot at left. Just click in the articles section and enter Call Things. You'll find it. You can also click in the question mark in the navigation bar up in the upper right and select the Support Center from the drop-down menu. You'll be taken to our Help Center where you can search for articles on getting started as well. If you're playing along at home while watching this video, you can take a moment to explore. Pick any selection and tap on it. Notice that the box turns orange and the sidebar appears with the contents of that selection. Some of these selections have multiple comments in them. Again, it's the contents of the first comment in a selection that appears in a preview. This is true for every one of these selection boxes, and there's no limit to the number of selections in a picture. To close a sidebar, move your mouse outside of a selection box and click on the picture. Now, double-click on the picture itself. Notice that Ponga centers the picture where you clicked and zooms in on that spot. Notice also that your mouse turned to a hand so that you can grab the picture and move it around. That's especially convenient when you need to move a picture out of the way of the sidebar or something. Because you're working in a browser and not with the image file, you can zoom in and out of a Ponga picture very quickly, regardless of image size. Now navigate to the toolbar and hit the Show Hide button to toggle the selection boxes on and off. Notice that even when they're toggled off, you can still get to the content in each box. As you mouse over each area, you'll see the related media types: audio, video, text, even Google Books. Different kinds of media appear in Ponga pictures in ways that relate to the ways in which the media is stored on the remote site. Generally, media like video, sound, and some kinds of documents embed so the media is playable. So that gives you a view of the kinds of things you can do in a Ponga picture. So far, we've seen how to navigate using the Explore Features Here picture. We've seen how to add text, recordings, and attached images. We've also seen how different kinds of content preview in a picture. Now's a good time to add your own pictures. Just hit the Upload Pictures button in the navigation bar. Everything we've done so far, including the request for an invitation to explore one of my pictures, can be done with your free guest account. The upload and sharing of photos, that requires a paid account. If you'd like to tap on Upload Pictures now, you'll see the annual and monthly options in the membership page that appears. If you have a promo code, you'll enter it at checkout. It's okay, we'll wait. Or, if you'd like to do that later and just follow along for now, that's just fine. You'll give you a chance to see how it works before you do. Your Ponga membership lets you focus the media-rich digital storytelling with AI-fueled face detection and collection features. What that means is that Ponga examines every image you'd upload to detect and collect the faces that appear to be the same person. We'll sort through the images and capture the very best to present you with each as a portrait in your gallery, where you can review what image that portrait came from and how many other pictures have included that same person. With that information, you can put a name to a face. So here we are, ready to upload photos. All I do is drag and drop the photos, or even a whole folder of photos. You see them all appear with little thumbnail images and a preview of their size. I could remove a few if I'd like, then hit Upload. Notice that the pictures float off the screen as the upload completes, and when it's done, the entire batch of photos is collected in a single time-stamped album. That's super useful as a way to mirror the organization you are already using. Let's say you upload a batch of photos given to you by an aunt. You want to keep them together since the fact that they came from her might help you figure out who someone is in a photograph or why it was taken. That kind of information is helpful to family history. Since each image is a link, as we discussed earlier, the same picture can appear in multiple albums. One album because it was from your aunt, but also additional albums for each person named in the photograph. No matter which album you find it in, when you open it, you see the same picture. Add comments, and they'll be seen by anyone opening it from any album. So with Ponga, when I add an image files using the Upload Pictures button, Ponga creates a new album that's date-time stamped to reflect each upload. Just change the name of that album and you've captured the context for that batch. It also goes through each image, examining it to detect and collect faces that appear to be the same person. It presents the very best of each image of each person as a portrait in the gallery. After just a few minutes, that process is complete, and I can walk through the gallery to put names to faces. You'll get an email telling you that your gallery is ready. Hit that button and you'll go straight to the gallery. Once in the gallery, you'll see a list of people you've already named down the left and a row of people to be named here. Reference portraits in this row are sorted in the order of frequency. Now, just strap in and answer the question, do you know who this is? If you just know, then just hit the green Add Name button or hit Return and start typing. The name you add will be applied as a label to that person's face in that picture and all others in the collection. An album will also be created to collect all pictures of that person. If you aren't sure who it is, that's okay. You've got two options, the yellow Skip button or the red Ignore button. Now, also a few keyboard shortcuts make it easier. Think of your Return key as Yes and your Tab key as Go On. When you first see a portrait, the Return key lets you start typing the name right away. The Tab key lets you see a quick look, and that is a great reminder of which image a portrait came from, the title of the image, and how many appearances that portrait represents. Each time a person is named in the gallery, a comment is added in every picture that matches the portrait you named. Once you've added a name, we add it to your Type Ahead list that appears as a drop-down menu when you start typing with just a few keystrokes. Matching faces to names is tricky since each of us goes through a dozen or more subtly different faces as we age. That's why you might see a dozen or more portraits of the same person in the gallery. By letting you apply the same name to your son as a baby, then again as an adolescent, and as an adult, you're effectively teaching Ponga that all of these portraits are the same person. That means that names distinguish people. If you have several families members with the same name, use generation names like junior, senior, or nicknames to distinguish them, much as you do around the dinner table. Nicknames, even acronyms, combined with Type Ahead features can make it easy to label someone with a couple of keystrokes. Our face detection features are very good. Sometimes it picks up strangers at the next table in restaurants or people in photographs on the wall. You'll see the Ignore button is there for just that purpose. Keep in mind, though, Ignore is Ignore. Once you hit Ignore, we won't bother you with that person again. So if you aren't sure but you want to come back later, then hit Skip. That might be your better choice. Back in the library, you see the full collection of photos you've added. Now they're sorted in the order in which changes were made. I mentioned that a comment is added in every picture that matches the portrait you named. You might notice pictures rearranging themselves as labels are added as comments. I like to think of that as the gallery gnomes doing their magic. Also, notice the albums down the left side. There's an album for each person named. This is my dearest great-aunt. Notice that this album includes every picture I have of her where I was able to identify her face. Open a picture and I see my great-aunt's face with a selection box around it. When I mouse over it, the reference portrait I used to add her name previews. Mousing over the faces of the other two people in this photo shows my grandfather when he was young and his firstborn daughter, my aunt. While we're here, let's update the title for this picture. The default here comes from the file name, and I can also add a description of a couple hundred words to including links. Oh, I just happen to have one in here I can paste in. There we go. So far, we've explored the picture in our example album to see how to add media-rich content to our own or to a shared picture. We've upgraded our account from a guest to a member and uploaded our own pictures to Ponga. We walked through the gallery to put names to faces. Now that your pictures are organized into albums and individuals are labeled, let's see what happens when you share pictures and albums. So let me first circle back to a concept we discussed earlier. Pictures and albums are links or URLs. We talked about how that meant that a single picture could appear in multiple albums. It also means that when you share a picture, you're sharing access to a link. Like sharing access to a doc or some other web application, you can share access today and revoke it tomorrow. You own your pictures and you are in control. To share a picture, all you do is tap on the Share panel in the upper corner of a picture or an album. You'll see a field to add an email address. You can share a picture to multiple people at once by entering their email addresses here, separated with a comma. Press a tab when you see the Share button, and hit Return, and you'll have a chance to enter a personalized note. This can be very helpful for setting context for the picture. This is intended for a short little note, although it can include links. Here's what an invitation looks like, all formatted nicely. Your free guests can see your message, the title of the picture, and a little instruction. All they have to do is click on View on Ponga. When they do, they'll be asked to log in, or if they don't already have an account, they'll be invited to authenticate your invitation with a username and password. This protects the privacy of your picture. Once that's done, they'll be directed to either the picture or the library. Invitations to albums work exactly the same way. Like yours, your guests' new accounts include the example picture, plus your picture by invitation. Let me show you what it looks like with Audie's invitation to Harger Family Picnic. In this example, I'm already logged in, so when I click on View on Ponga from the invitation, it takes me directly to the photo. Now, since this photo is shared with me as view only, notice that I can't add comments nor move the selection boxes. This is a particularly fun example because it includes a sampling of 12 different kinds of content that can be added to a Ponga picture. Here in the description, you'll find a link to a blog post that describes these kinds of content and how to add them. See ponga.com/invite me to ask for your own invitation. You'll be Audie's guest, so it's entirely free. So there you have it. I've shown you how you can use your own pictures to tell media-rich stories you can share privately with family and friends. We started by exploring Ponga as a free guest. Then I showed you my account as a member, where I added my own pictures to Ponga and where they were organized for me by person so that I can add media-rich stories and share them with family and friends. You can use Ponga in a number of ways to help you to tell your own or your family story. While doing research, it's a great place to capture information using pictures to contextualize the details. You can also use it to crowdsource stories by inviting family and friends to contribute stories or by gathering to discuss what you've learned together on Zoom. Ponga makes a great way to curate a larger family legacy to share with generations to come. You'll find articles about using Ponga in our tips blog and videos on our YouTube channel. The Roots Tech organizers asked us to give 2 courses in addition to our videos here in our booth. One describes a way to use Ponga to zoom over the generation gap with pictures. The second talks about using Ponga to connect stories in pictures to archives in permanent.org. One of our members, Victoria McGregor, is also giving a course titled Family Tree Presentation and Sharing, which is absolutely inspiring. Take a moment to check those out. We're also offering a series of notes, tips, and downloadables, capturing some of the detail mentioned in this and our other videos. Look for those links in our virtual booth. During the live session of Roots Tech 2022, we'll be available for live chat, workshops, and Zoom conversations from our booth. Look for the links there. We'll be delighted to have the opportunity to talk to you personally and answer any questions you might have. Finally, in celebration of this annual Roots Tech program, we have some special offers and invitations available from our website at ponga.com. Again, thank you so much for watching.